rolling?
We're rolling for real this time.
Alright, welcome to PMAM.
PMAM.
I'm Nima, this is Josh.
That's right, I could introduce myself. My name's Josh.
Okay.
Alright. Way to jump the gun there, Nima. Nima's obviously the boss of this podcast, as you can tell.
I'm not. I'm just trying to put coal in the engine.
That's right.
Keep it going, or
That's
whatever.
good. If it wasn't for Nima, I would have...
But I also kind of felt like it'd be corny to be like, I'm Nima, and this is Josh, or whatever. So I don't know, I just felt like it was a little bit more formal.
That's true, it is.
To just be like, I'm Josh and Nima.
On the next episode, I will introduce us.
Exactly, like it's not that, you know what I mean?
We'll take turns. We have to talk about theme songs. Did you see the theme song that I sent you?
That's where it's at.
Yeah, where it's at.
Yeah.
2 turntables and a microphone. Yeah, back. Doesn't have to be that, but...
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
I mean, I was assuming I would make the theme song.
Even better. Nima's been working on SoundCloud and posting, and your stuff's getting a lot better.
Thank you, sir.
It's finding rhythm and cohesion.
I'm getting better at using the tools
Mm-hmm.
and getting different kinds of sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Learning how to use samples
Right.
and like flipping them and stuff like that. And it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So
Cool.
definitely up in the middle of the night.
You've been in the game for a while, right?
Which game?
All the games.
Like the video games?
Graphic design.
Oh, those games. Yeah, dude. I'm
work.
a one-man design house.
Exactly. He's dipping his hands into audio world. You've done graphic design for forever, professionally, personally. At Zoo, right?
Yep.
On Insta.
At Zoo Insta.
How long have you been posting?
Probably since 2015.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Doing work.
So yeah.
Yeah, doing work. I'm brand new, trying to get my name out there. I've been doing it very privately for a very long time. So, trying to break out into the world.
Like in a social media sense?
Yeah, in a online presence sense.
Right.
Social media to me has a lot of stigmatism. So, but yeah,
Well, social media is the internet now.
that's true. You don't think about it that way, but like Reddit is social media, but it's also the internet, but it's also social media because interaction, right? I guess everything. Like the days of not interacting with your content are gone. You know, before it was one directional, and now it's two directional, right? There's give and take in any internet media that you're consuming.
Sure. I remember back when I was in journalism school, before I was a graphic designer, as a news reporter, and in journalism school, there's a lot of sort of like media classes, like history of media, different kinds of media kind of stuff. And one of the classes I took was a history of mass media, and mass media is considered where one person is sending out a message or communicating out to many.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like a letter is one-to-one. Like certain things are, most things are sort of like one-to-one or some small group or whatever, but mass media is one to, many. So like TV, movies, all that kind of stuff. And he asked us, and this was like a long time ago, early 2000s or whatever. I was at the community college here at Pierce, and they were asking, well, what is MySpace? Because it was like MySpace, kind of big at the time. Is MySpace mass media?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because while it's one person looking at one person's page, that one page is still sort of broadcasting out to many.
Yeah.
So kind of what he was kind of getting at is that social media is a personalized, pocket-sized mass media that we all have.
Yeah, it's mass media for the masses.
Yeah, exactly. So
taking the power out of the broadcast or studios like Warner Brothers or whoever controlled distribution of media, NBC, ABC, CBS, and now everybody has, just like we do, a podcast.
So you may look at it as like, well, you have this channel. You have like the Josh channel, and you don't have any producers, you don't have directors or actors or whatever kind of guys, but you have yourself, you have a platform,
Right.
and you can put out content. You know what I mean? And that's new and that's different and that's not something we're really used to and that's not something that everybody wants to do. Not everybody wants to run like their own multimedia
Conglomerate, especially because you have to
conglomerate,
wear
yeah.
all the hats like you're talking about, right? You're a jack of all trades now. Visual, audio, right? And producing content. So that's the new standard if you want to be in the game.
Yeah.
Got to do all of it.
I mean, you could hire somebody.
That's true.
There are that social media manager is a real job that people get paid
It's true. And
thousands of dollars.
It's crazy to
Tens of
sink
thousands of
money
dollars
into
for.
something that isn't making money yet. That to me just like doesn't make sense, and that's where I'm
Yeah.
struggling with this whole thing. Is
But that's also business. I mean, if you open a restaurant, you're not going to be making money.
yeah, I've never done business that way. I've always
Yeah.
done business time for pay, time for pay, time for pay,
Yeah.
as opposed to accumulating assets and value that will be enriching you at some point in the future. Right. Anyway, what have you been up to this week? This
Work,
it's the
just
start
a lot of
the
work.
week.
I mean, a lot of work. I mean, it's one day, but it's Memorial Day, so
Right.
we had a long weekend. Spent some time with family
Nice.
yesterday, and then day before went to the brewery,
Mm-hmm.
and then went to. Do you know Bannon though?
Brewery, we should clarify, is hand brewed beer.
Right.
That's-
In the future, I mean, nobody.
Nobody's listening right now.
Nobody's listening right
We
now.
still want to throw a shout out.
We still want to practice. Yeah, we still want to get those reps in.
We still want to throw a shout out though to hand brewed beer because that's like our family,
Right.
right? And
The
they do exist as a business that is making money and
That's
losing
true.
money all at the same time,
yeah.
and they're already ahead of the curve. They have an audience, and if anybody's listening,
I mean, if anybody is listening to this, they probably have gone to the brewery.
I hope so. That's true. That's true. That's true. The only people that are going to listen are going to be people that are like, hey, I already know Nima. I already know Josh. I guess I'll give them a listen. I'll give them at least 5 minutes.
Yeah. They probably shut it off by now.
I think. Yeah, I was going to say all of our. Yeah, we don't even on the Discord like how much stuff gets posted that you don't read.
I
or,
do everything.
Or don't listen to.
I
Sure you do.
the music, definitely. If anybody posts music, I'll listen to music
Gotcha.
because I'm trying to listen to that music.
Yeah.
And movie stuff, TV shows. I mean, people don't really post that stuff.
Yeah. Nima has strong tastes when it comes to music, movies, and shows.
Yeah, I like what I like.
That's right.
Well, what about you? What have you been up to?
I just got back from a camping trip.
Oh yeah, you went with
Went with Mike for
our
one of the
friends, Michael Andrada, and your
nights.
brother
And my brother Nick.
Yeah,
Nick Foster.
that seems
Seems what?
seems like a
horrible.
rough weekend, man.
Dude, you have no idea how rough it was, actually. The first night, so I decided to carry up. Pavilions does this $5 Friday thing, and we left on Friday.
Like the grocery store.
The grocery store
Okay.
Pavilions, yeah. And so they'll do like $5 Friday. You can get a whole cheesecake for $5. You can get a big giant sub sandwich for $5. And this Friday they had fried chicken, $5 for a full fried chicken.
Okay.
I was like, that sounds like a lot better than backpacking food. Backpacking food is dehydrated and you just add hot water and it's super salty and it's not great. So I figured a chicken at the top of the mountain would be a lot of fun. So we packed the chicken, we got all the way up, there was a long hike. We ate the chicken, we're chilling out, looking at the views. We're in the mountains above Altadena.
Okay.
And it's just the three of us, and then another family shows up and they're set up behind us somewhere. After we finish eating, we're just checking out the view, and then kind of like in the background behind the music, so we're playing some music, we hear one of the kids saying like, bear, bear, bear. And we look over, and 100 feet away, there's a black bear
No
cruising
way.
toward our camp. Yeah, honest to God. A black bear just cruising by. Just like, duh, duh, duh. I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're coming for. This bag of bones and chicken fat is smelling really good to you. So everybody got really big and shined their lights in the eyes, and it was far enough away that it wasn't a threat.
Is it still daylight?
No, it's night.
Night?
This is night. Yeah,
Okay.
This is 9 o'clock dark. Yeah, like
He says it's 100 feet away.
100 feet away.
What is that?
100 feet
Yeah.
is 20 Nimas laid down end to end.
Okay. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty close.
It's very close. It's very close. And so, suffice to say, none of us slept that night. We were all, and actually, a bear was the best case scenario, because I was seeing a lot of what looked like mountain lion.
Get P-77 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I was way happier to see a big goofy bear tromping along
Yogi Bear.
than a mountain lion, sneaking up behind us
Yeah.
and murdering all three of us.
Why don't you just throw the chicken bones at him?
I voted for that. I said,
Okay.
let's throw the chick bones as far down the hill as possible.
Yeah.
And Mike said, no, you can't throw it as far as you think.
True. That's that's true.
So we stuffed it in.
I was super ready to just be like, Mike's an idiot. Mike's not saying some stupid shit. And then he's like, oh no, yeah. That's right.
Mike's actually a very logical cat.
Yeah.
He's I really like his brain, how he approaches life, and very strategic, and
Yeah, art of the Zen of
systematic.
maintenance or whatever.
Yeah, Zen
Yeah.
and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Yeah.
That's one of them, and then Zen and the Art of Archery is the other one. Did you ever read that?
No, I haven't read
Either
either of them.
I didn't read the motorcycle maintenance one. That sounds like one Mike would have read, and I imagine he has. But I read.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah, I read Zen and the Art of Archery in undergrad as part of my sport philosophy class or something like that.
I can see that.
Which is
I've never
cool. read
read it, but I could see it already being like.
Yeah. That was a cool teacher. He's one of those teachers that kind of just stood in the front of the room, racked his brain, trying to piece together philosophical concepts and tie them into sport and ethics and morals and stuff like that. Would have had a field day in the moral, ethical sports landscape of gender, identity, politics, and stuff like that.
Like trans athletes.
That we're in now today. Yeah. Fortunately, that wasn't a theme when I was going to.
Is he still alive?
The teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a young guy. He was only a little bit older. I mean, he was probably 30-something. He was a young teacher
Yeah.
at the time when I was 20-something. So he's not too far off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Seems like an interesting guy to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was an ultimate frisbee player.
Oh
Passionate
damn.
about ultimate frisbee. Yeah. I don't think I ever got a game going with him, but that's because I was engrossed in being a young father and going to
Yeah.
school and trying to do the family thing and so I kind of missed out on a lot of the college experiences. How about you? I know you went to community college and then 4-year.
Yeah, I went to community college, and then I went to a 4-year program at a state school in San Francisco for journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Journalism's different than other kinds of things that you would study at school,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going off campus and getting the story, and then you're coming back and you're writing it, and then you're handing it in. You're not in the library studying, or you're not in the lab doing experiments or anything. You're just you go to your teacher, you're like, hey, I got this idea for this story, and they'll try to help you or try to craft it, find the angle or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of go out in the world and get it and come back.
Was that separate from, I mean, at least my experience with undergrad was lecture and lab were two parts of one class. Did you have lecture and lab?
Kind of.
This was just...
It'd be maybe like the first couple days would be lecture, and then the rest of the classes is more like I came back to the teacher with the story that I'm working on, and he kind of like helps me out with it, sees where I could use some help, who to talk to, maybe has like an inside track with like certain things, like if you're working on a story about maybe like some sort of like lawsuit that's happening, like those lawsuits are like public record, so he would kind of help you like find those like public records or how to go through that process, kind of stuff like that.
What stories or projects that you worked on stood out?
So I was...
Given that you didn't pursue journalism in the long run, did anything stand out?
So I was what they call a features guy.
Okay.
Features are... It's hard news. There's like news and features.
Okay.
So news is like, this guy murdered this guy, he yada yada yada, who, what, when, where, this happened. Features are like human interest stories. Like, this place has been here for 50 years and now it's a landmark or whatever. So I was more that kind of guy because I could find interesting people and interesting things to talk about that were going on. And I didn't really give a fuck about really being on top of politics and what was kind of going on.
The daily news cycle.
Yeah. So I kind of built a niche for myself where I would go out and kind of find like these quirky stories and stuff like that. I had a column in the paper where it would be like a spotlight on just like some weird kid at the school. And I did that for a while for the newspaper, and then I started working for the school magazine, and the magazine was like I went undercover with like a LARP team, if you know what that is.
No, what's LARP?
LARP is live action role playing.
Okay.
It's where like kids dress up like cosplay, and then they play like a fantasy RPG game in real life.
LARP.
Yeah, so like live action role playing.
Okay.
They do this like they go all over the bay and they do these like scenes kind of thing, and there's a game to it and all that kind of stuff, and they like...
Do they follow like a single game, or is it constructed its own world?
They had different ones.
Okay.
So yeah, and then they have a big one out in like the woods where they get like a cabin and they all come out and they have like these paper mache like monsters and stuff like that, and they like put like a food dye on the food, so it's like mashed potatoes but it's green because it's like magical and stuff like that.
Okay.
I did another story when I went to like, there's like this landfill out in the bay that they were throwing away industrial material, and then they realized this is super bad for the environment, and they stopped, and the landfill kind of stayed, but it kind of like grew over with trees and bushes and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And then these homeless people like moved on to there because it was like, it's like unclaimed land.
Right.
Because it was just garbage.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah, and then now it's like, over years, like nature took its course and created like trees and stuff like that. So like these homeless people started living there.
Okay.
And not only they started living there, they started creating art from the debris that was left there.
Oh.
So it's like scattered with all these like cool sort of sculptures made from like found material, and the homeless people were sort of fighting with the government. The city government was trying to get them off, and they wanted to stay there. So yeah, I did a story there. We spent the night there. A lot of stuff like that. I mean, I did a story on 6th Street where it's just like this like super fucked up street neighborhood in San Francisco. We did like a full on interactive mapping of the street. So online you could go down the street and you could click different buildings, and there would be like different stories and histories of that building.
Okay.
So yeah, it was like that kind of stuff. And then like 8 years later, maybe, or 6 years later, 7 years later, I went back to school.
Okay.
For graphic design.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And that was like,
Did you spend a lot of time professionally in the field of journalism before deciding to go back to school?
so I graduated like 09, 010 or something like that.
Okay.
And I tried to work in the industry
Mm-hmm.
for like, it's probably like 5 years,
Oh, wow.
and just making no money and no job. Like, it was going really bad.
All freelance stuff?
Yeah, well, I was working for the paper in San Francisco. They were paying me like pennies.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't getting paid very much. I think I was getting paid like $800 a month.
Wow.
And then the paper closed.
Okay.
So I came back to LA
Uh,
and tried to do freelance. And I was getting some jobs here and there, like, just wasn't working out. I ended up getting a job as a copywriter.
okay.
And they sat me next to, it was like a small kind of office, and they did this thing where they would make blogs,
Uh-huh.
and the blogs would be about like bird cages or chairs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would just have writers write these like articles about these different products, and then we would then add SEO shit to the product or to the blog post, and then they would, over time, as that site got traction, they would flip into a store.
Mm.
And then they hired me on to write the articles. They just had to have like a certain amount of keywords in them, so the SEO would catch, and then they would make it so that the blog would be like a top 10 search on Google
Mm-hmm.
for that like chair
Right.
or ostrich feathers or whatever they were trying to sell.
Uh-huh.
Once it got to that ranking, that high ranking, they would flip into a store.
Gotcha.
And then that way, when somebody searched for that product, their site would be in the top 10. And they sat me next to the graphic designer. And the graphic designer guy was a big hip hop guy.
Mm.
And so we would, like on our breaks, we would like freestyle rap, and like he would like beatbox, and we do like all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so we got kind of close, and I would just watch him do his job,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I want to do that.
Okay.
Like this shit.
I'm in the wrong side.
But yeah, this shit sucks. Like I hate this.
Okay.
And then so I started teaching myself, like going on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
teaching myself Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. And then I just realized I'm not like learning this well enough. I'm not getting like, I want to be able to get a job with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this school in North Hollywood that I could get an AA
Mm-hmm.
for graphic design. And I asked my parents for some money, and then I got a grant, and then I paid for the rest of it myself. And I just got the AA. It took me a year.
Okay.
But
It sounds like it was focused, though.
it was like, I was just like, I need to learn the software.
Uh-huh.
Because I got the creativeness or whatever.
Right.
I just need to know how to use the tools. So I just like speed through like the Photoshop classes, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about just like dropping out. But then I realized I was gonna owe more money if I dropped out. So I stayed. It ended up taking me like a year and a half. But my whole thing was like, I just want a teacher to teach me,
Right.
you know, in a physical room.
Instead of you piecing it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and then it was boom.
Nice.
That first year, like of working in design,
Uh-huh.
I made more money in the 6 years I was a journalist.
Wow.
5-6 years.
Yeah. Journalism's not the place to go, kids.
But then and that's like,
Don't get
I
addicted
feel
to
like I have
journalism.
kind of like a good perspective on it, and why people are always wondering why journalism is like how it is.
Mhm.
Why is everything so clickbaity? Why is everything such like sensationalized or whatever?
Yeah.
Just because like that's the only way these guys are getting paid. It's the only way you can feed your families on this stuff. Like even if you really were like a true like hardcore like I'm trying to bring the truth to the people and
Mhm.
I'm really getting in there asking all the hard questions. Like that guy's living in poverty.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
He's doing it for the love.
yeah.
Yeah. Some kind of passion.
And if you are that passionate, and if you are willing to like sacrifice your whole life and happiness or whatever for like the truth, like I don't know. Like, you probably fucked up. Like, mentally. Not to be harsh, but,
Yeah.
um,
There's some kind of imbalance.
Yeah.
Right. That this is such a priority above all else.
All else,
That
exactly.
everything else falls by the wayside.
I mean, God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Excuse me.
God bless you for sacrificing your life and everything to bring us the truth about,
Right.
Monsanto and Coca-Cola and Nestle and all this stuff. But,
Absolutely.
try to find some... Can we just, like, pay these guys more? Can we just figure out a system where, like, you're not having to do that just to, like...
UBI.
What's UBI?
Universal Basic Income. That was a hot topic in 2020, right? Wasn't that Andrew Yang's
That's
platform?
Yang, yeah.
Yeah, he has since backed away from that. He won't deny that he no longer supports it. If I'm getting that right, right? It's kind of like
so he's not going to bring it up, but if you bring it up with him, he's not going to tell you.
He's going to say we tried it and we promoted it and I think it would work, and then when somebody says, well, what about COVID? And we gave everybody free money and it crashed our economy and ballooned the debt and all the money went to the wrong people. Not all the money, but a significant amount of the money went to the wrong people. And he just says, yeah, well, I'm also starting this new party.
But I don't think those are apt comparisons.
What do you mean?
Like a PPP loan versus universal basic income.
Probably not.
It's not the same thing.
Probably not, but there was also just money being handed out. Not necessarily PPP loan, but also, like, here's a stipend
Yeah.
that everybody got.
Yeah, but that was not very much.
True. And neither would universal basic income. I think they're talking about like $1,000 a month was the number that was being thrown around for whatever it's worth. But I understand.
From what oh yeah, go ahead.
I understand the idea of providing enough assistance that you can, like Ace Rock has right, to pursue the passions that I don't know what the lyric is, right? Do you know it offhand?
Not offhand like that.
Alright, well, say what you were going to say.
Well, his whole thing is like, we just want to, it's like we perfect the pastimes, read Harvard based solely on the fact that others thinks it sounds dope.
That makes us smile if it sounds
That's
dope.
dope, yeah.
Yeah, there we go, lyrics.
Which, I think that's sort of tongue-in-cheek at the same time, though. Because it's like, yeah, I don't want to work, but I guess it'd be cool to have a job that people think is cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, we, the American working population, hate the fact that 8 hours a day is wasted on chasing the dream of someone that isn't us. And we may not hate our jobs, but we hate jobs in general that don't have to do with fighting our own causes. We, the American working population, hate the 9-to-5 day in, day out, when we'd rather be supporting ourselves by being paid to perfect the pastimes that we have harbored based solely on the fact that it makes us smile if it sounds dope. Fucking blew it at the end there, huh? That was so close. That's so close.
I listen to that guy every day of my life. You'd think I'd be able to just rap the whole song. Like, it's so hard. Like, nobody can.
It just depends. Like, if there was a third person here, we probably would have been able to triangulate it together.
Maybe. Our forces combined.
Exactly.
But, I mean, so do you think Universal... Well, so, from what I've heard, before I go to that they've been doing, like, small sample-sized testing, experimentation of universal basic income.
Okay.
There are families in this country that are getting universal basic income. Now, I just heard that that's happening. I read some articles on it. I don't know if that whole thing is over.
Okay.
I do wonder if Andrew Yang
is behind them. Is the mastermind behind?
Not maybe the mastermind, but maybe they did that experiment and he looked at it and he realized it wasn't.
Yeah, because that's not where he's going right now with his efforts.
Yeah, so I wonder if they did testing on universal basic income and realized it doesn't really work and just kind of are moving on from it.
The Forward Party, that's his new party, which people are concerned will just create another like triple split, and then basically split the Democratic Party and then hand the Republicans the win. Not
So
that this
I mean,
is a
but then so
politics
like, what's
podcast.
the? But I get when they say that, but then I also feel like, well, what's the other option?
The other option is to continue two-party system forever, interminably, indefinitely.
And the two-party system is
If we
the
did,
two-party system is, I feel like, does not work.
if we jumped to 4, if we went straight to 4, then it would be a different ball game.
Yeah.
Then it would be a different ball game. But we can't go 2 to 3. It's got to go 2 to 4, and it's got to be the main party. Each main party splinters, which is kind of what's going to happen when Trump goes head to head with everybody else, because Trump has the populist support, and everybody else has the party support.
Yeah. But I will say, given the forward trajectory of this is going to sound weird, but given the forward trajectory of the way this country is going, especially with things like AI and automation and things of that nature, like that leads, I think, societies to become more populist.
Yeah.
And I think someone like Trump is very populist. Like he's of the people kind of force of politics. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I think that
maybe that's a changing tide for all of politics.
yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to
Yeah. So I'm actually watching Veep again right now. Veep on HBO. Did you ever watch that?
I've seen a couple episodes. Funny.
It's funny. It's really good. It's great slapstick. Just everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong, and they're just constantly trying to pick up the pieces. But one of the storylines is that she starts as vice president, and then her president resigns, so now she's president, and then in order to stay president, she has to campaign, right? She doesn't just get to automatically go into the next term, right? She's got like 1 year at the end of their 4-year term together.
Okay.
And then, so she's campaigning, and the electoral college ties.
Okay.
Whatever the number count is, dead tie. So then it goes to the House, and the House has to vote, or the Senate, and one of them has to get a majority, and if they don't get a majority, then it goes to their vice presidents, right? So it's just this mess, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the whole thing, that if it wasn't an electoral college, then somebody would have won and somebody would have lost. There's no tying in the electoral college, or there's no tying with a populist vote.
Yeah.
The odds of tying 300 million people, however many percentage of that are voting.
It's not happening.
Right. It's not going to happen. There's no way it's going to be
right.
50-50. So, yeah, get rid of the electoral college. If this whole populist wave were to gain enough traction over the next 5-10 years, that people become fed up with politics as a whole and politicians as a whole and political systems as a whole, and just say democracy is my vote, one person, one vote, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah. How does it, so like, if the electoral college votes a certain way, no matter what the populist vote is, the whatever the electoral college says goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know enough.
I don't know.
This is not a politics podcast.
This thing about like talking, like you'll go to like a bar or someplace or party, and like some guys try to tell you like, oh, all they need to do is do this and do that, and it's like, bro, you probably don't even know how this shit works. Like, you know what I mean? Like the
poli-sci major.
Yeah, like
poli-sci minor.
Yeah, not even just like one semester and took poli-sci or whatever. Like,
yeah, and he's a big mouth,
and he's got all the answers.
Or she.
Or she.
Or she.
Or
That's
they.
the equal opportunist. There you go. They.
Or Zer or whatever.
That's right. Zer. That's another one.
Yeah.
XHE or ZHE? I forget.
Though I do wonder under a perverse alt-right, right-wing economy, Donald Trump, populist America, would there be universal basic income?
No, fuck no.
You don't get my money. Well, then so it's just like millions of unemployed people in the trailer park or whatever.
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. Like, you're voting for somebody that wants to strip all of your benefits. Like that's their whole platform, but you're missing that point. They want to take your Medi-Cal. They want to take your not Medicare, Medicaid. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Medicaid, I think, is the one that you get medical care because you're poor.
Yeah.
Or they want to take your food stamps, or they want to take your
but that's commie shit.
What's that?
That's commie bullshit, though.
What is?
All that Medicaid and all that shit.
Oh, well, maybe to a certain degree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like under the Trump populist or whatever. Like
that's communism. It's better if you don't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that you just wither away.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so I guess that's my the thing is like all these like poor ass racist white people who don't have are making like $20,000 a year, like digging worms or whatever the fuck in Alabama.
Right.
Like they put Trump in office, like whatever little that they had is gone.
Well,
like they're immediately turning into Democrats after that.
If they would listen to different media sources. All goes back to media, right?
Well, those are all woke commie, faggot liberals or whatever. So I don't watch the media. I'm talking as like one of these people.
Okay, I was trying to figure out where's Nima's jumping perspectives a lot right now. Nima's possessing different bodies. It's like jumping around the room right now. Right now he's got his face inside the trailer trash, and then he's got his face inside the woke liberal, and then he's.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of these people that I think go for Trump and think Trump's great or whatever are probably the people that would benefit the most
from not him.
From not him, Democrat, like like a heavy liberal Democratic agenda or whatever.
Yeah. That's what it is. Shifting from politics because neither of us are well versed in politics.
I was thinking that same thing.
That's all right. We're just trying to find our groove, man.
Yeah.
Trying to find our groove and let the conversations go. The reason this could work, right? The reason this could work is because Nima and I just find ourselves in interesting conversations.
Sure, yeah.
We've done some road trips together, and it always gels, and it kind of surprised me because, not surprised me, but it's what's the word? Serendipity, right? The conversations that we run into. Specifically because, don't take offense to this, but in high school, right?
Okay.
Nima and I have known each other since high school.
I didn't know you in high school.
Did you?
No.
You went to Chatsworth?
I knew you after high school.
I could have sworn we were hanging out.
Because
I remember hanging out with you and Cassie. Kind of blending. Yeah.
Well, that still would have been after high school, though.
Okay, that's how close Nima and I were.
Because I started hanging out, because I was hanging out with Cassie, and I was like, I'm tired of this bitch.
Okay.
And I was like,
I got some funny stories.
I was looking for like dude friends.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was hanging out with Brian, and Brian knew Will.
Right.
And then
I knew Will.
And then you, Max, knew Will.
Right.
So I met you guys through Brian/Will/ whatever.
Right.
And that was after high school.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think it was like 19, 20 or whatever. Yeah.
So it was young. It was like 18, 19. It was like right after high school.
It was like right.
I was still in high school mindset. I was not.
It was before we were 21.
Before, so I feel like you and I, having gone to community college,
yeah,
I think we both went to Pierce actually. At the
I think
same
we both
time.
went to Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, but didn't overlap at Pierce. But going to community college after high school was like high school 2.0.
Yeah, it wasn't high school with ashtrays.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how Nima sees it. Like high school 2.0. There you go. Try high school again.
Yeah.
Try it with a little bit harder. And Nima was like, finally, I get to fucking smoke.
This is great.
This is great. Nobody's getting on me right now. But yeah, so we didn't like I didn't see the world in a way that was simpatico with you, and I just like I didn't get you. I couldn't appreciate you. But we were homies because your homies, my homies, my homies, your homies, right? So there was overlap, and I appreciated, but I never like got into conversations with you one-on-one. That wasn't until much later on.
Yeah.
And I think I just wasn't at a place where I had enough lived experience to resonate with your lived experience. It was very much...
I didn't have that much like lived experience at that point either, though.
Okay.
I mean, I was trying to figure out my shit then, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mine, all I could see was get waves, get paid, get laid. That was it. That was actually...
Sounds good, actually. That was like a decent life.
Yeah, that was actually... It didn't do me well, though. It didn't serve me well.
If you can only have that now.
Yeah. Life is way more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in my stride right now. I feel like there are points in time, like within your development and within the career development, stuff like that. There are points where you push really hard, and then you get to cruising altitude, and you just chill, and then you push really hard and chill. I feel like I've been at a chill point for a while, which is why I'm kind of like expanding. What else can I do professionally, personally, recreationally, to expand my horizons? So I feel like that's kind of what the podcast is.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think, I don't know, I felt going back to school and all that kind of stuff, and like going through the failed career, and I was with this woman who I thought I was going to marry or kind of thing, and going through that failed relationship, and like going through all that crap or whatever. You know, you just kind of feel like, alright, well, not like I've been through the worst or something like that, but it just kind of makes everything more attainable in a way, because you failed so hard, you got hurt so bad, you know what I mean? It's kind of nothing now. And like a lot of people, you know, they're too embarrassed to go back to school, or they're too embarrassed to say that their career sucks and they hate it, or their relationship sucks or they hate it, or yada yada, you know what I mean? Like there's sort of like built-in mind blocks, and you cock-block yourself in a lot of different situations. But kind of going through a lot of that, and just, you know, going through the experiences of all those hardships, mentally, physically, yada yada, you kind of like these new kind of things that may other people get scared of or get hesitant about, and things that I may have in the past gotten hesitant about, you know, you don't think about that anymore, because it's just like, well, whatever, like I'm going to be this old, or I'm going to be like this anyway, so let's just go and do it. And doing that, and having some reps in that, and having some exercise in doing that, you know, you really get to this mindset where it's like, I can do anything if I just need the time, the commitment to do it. So a lot of this, like, you know, in my work, you know, I start making beats and music and stuff like that. You know, back in the day, I would have been, I don't have the rhythm, I don't have like any talent or whatever, I can't do this. But now it's like, no, I can do it. I just gotta give it a certain amount of time and a certain amount of effort, and just not make sure it's, you know, don't try to have this become something overnight. You know, things take time. You're a rookie. All this types of thinking and stuff like that. And before you know it, you know, 6 months, a year later, you know, I make something that people think is actually sounds kind of cool. You know what I mean? So, and the same thing goes with all the art, the design. I'm sure with this podcast, you know, it's the same thing I was saying, where it's just like, let's just practice and talk or whatever. In time, we will get to a point where it's, you know, pro or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what got me started on that, but
We're just talking about having to embrace the suck, embrace the suffer.
And so, like, both me and you have, I mean, you've gone through way, way more suck than I have, but
I don't know about that. I mean, we've both been through the suck, the suffer, and I think that's so that probably answers the statement I was initially proposing, which is that we didn't really connect, even though we were homies, and that's because neither of us had suffered enough.
Yeah,
and
like
now,
we were gonna connect with anybody,
right? and now we can connect through the suffer.
Yeah, and it's also like, I do think that because we've kind of been through some shit, there is more of like, the hunger is different.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of tell like you hunger a little bit more for something a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I kind of do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much like higher power or whatever, but like, you know, there's a thirst for knowledge, thirst for like understanding things more, thirst for like reality,
development.
Yeah, development. Like, what's the real shit that's gonna get me to the next level? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like petty shit. We're not just like. Mm-hmm. There's that sense, so we're both kind of hungry for that, and we're willing to like. I want to hear what you have to say about this. You know, I want to share with you what I think about this, because that helps. You need that. You need that conversation and all that kind of stuff to help you get more information and all knowledge and tips and tricks on how to survive in this world.
Yeah, so that's what spoke to me the most about the podcast. Like, before we started recording today, you had mentioned like you were 50-50 if this was going to happen. Yeah. And honestly, after the weekend that I had of bears and poison oak and whatever,
you had the poison oak too?
I was fully clothed, and I scrubbed when I got to the creek that we had just trudged through Poison Oak. Scrubbed everything down, washed my clothes, hang them out to dry. Had a change of clothes that weren't exposed to anything. Came home, put all those clothes into a bag, changed in the car. Gonna wash those in their own separate load. I get poison oak real bad, like the worst.
Yeah, I mean,
anybody gets it, and so this was kind of risky, but it was really worth it. It was a great camp. It was a very cool spot. But anyway, after all that, I always come back just fucking exhausted. So when you texted me yesterday, I was like, yes, let's do it, because my probably like,
it's not gonna happen now, it's not gonna happen later.
But like the first 20 years of my life, it was like hemming and hawing.
Yeah.
Right? 20 or 25 years, like indecision, should I, shouldn't I, maybe, right? Maybe almost always means no. Right?
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Maybe it's a hole. It's a hole. To get out of it is hard, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, so I just try and say yes now.
Yeah.
I just try and say yes. And honestly, this morning I was exhausted, and this afternoon I was exhausted, and I was like, you know, whatever happens, happens. But I totally lost my.
But that's good. I mean, I think that's something lost, I think, on some people. Mm-hmm. Is not like strike when the iron's hot, mm-hmm. but like keeping dates is 50% the battle, you know what I mean?
Just show up.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like you said, maybe it's a lot of time. No, like pushing something back. Mm-hmm. I guess there's some sense of, I'll do it later. Mm-hmm. Procrastination. Right. I do think of procrastination is tied to anxiety a lot of times. Mm-hmm.
I think anxiety is a lot of what if.
Yeah.
It's like what anxiety is at its roots causes. Sure. What if every worst case possible scenario, and that's anxiety, instead of just like, okay, here we go, jump off. But what I was going to say, I think I have it. Nope.
But I agree with what you said. Like, a lot of times I'll be in that similar situation, where like my body is just kind of like, just call that off or cancel that, or you know what I mean, push that back. Yeah. But then the second voice comes in, and it's like, if you do that, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
If this is gonna happen, it's gonna happen now. And I think I sort of coached my brain to thinking strike when the iron's hot with like a lot more stuff. Uh-huh. even though it's not like that dire or something like that.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like, hey, I'm just gonna come over here and watch Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And
that's a start.
Maybe I wasn't like not really feeling it that day, and just kind of wanted to stay home and smoke pot, play a video game or whatever. My second brain kind of comes in and tells me no, do it, because.
And that's new though. That's
it's something I've trained my brain over that time.
Yeah, that's something that's been in the making for the past 10 years or however long, right? And now that script is maybe still secondary, but it's as loud as the primary of nah.
Yeah. Nah. It's cognitive behavior, man.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like behavior is like learned actions or whatever you want to say, responses over time. Right. You like, if you think of it that way, it's like, okay, well, if you want to change the way you react to stuff, you have to change your behavior, and to change your behavior, you have to make conscious decisions over time that they sort of sink in. Yeah. And as we get older, it's like way harder.
Do you have experience with CBT? Have you done
CBT?
Not CBT. That's my. Is
that what you said? CBD?
CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
A little bit. I went to a therapist who sort of specialized or spoke a lot about cognitive behavior. Sort of one of the big examples for me was phone. Like when people call you on the phone, or when you have to call people on your phone, there's this like instant sort of dread reaction.
Dread is a good word I use a lot.
and yeah, dread is 100% what it is. Yeah. And there's certain things like when the phone rings or when you have to make a phone call, there's dread. Yeah. And so we sort of talk about like you know in those moments of extreme dread, take a step back, talk to yourself. Why are you feeling this dread? Like, why are you feeling this? Like, can we think about this in a different way? Yeah. Can we not just immediately go to like the worst place every time? Yeah. Maybe it's somebody wishing you a good day. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or maybe it's somebody with a business opportunity. Why is it always good? Like just talk to yourself that. Yeah. Over time, you start thinking about it differently, or at least you break the spell. Where it's like, maybe I'll still have the dread, but I know immediately it's bullshit. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like you're dreading this because you're being a pussy. Yeah. Pick up the phone. You know what I mean?
For me, that's like two management systems. So if you're thinking about your autonomic nervous system, that's like your heart, your breathing, right? All these things that happen automatically. Okay. One other branch of that is your emotional nervous system. And that has this like reactive fight or flight kind of operating system versus your what do they say? Like your forebrain, right? Where you can rationalize and you can have higher order thoughts and you can actually process and digest and make conscious decisions instead of impulse decisions. It's like the reptilian brain versus the evolutionized brain. Okay. So that's how I see these things. It's like, here's my nervous system reaction, the reptile brain, and then how do we actually want to react to it? How do we choose to react to it? Conscious decision, how I'm going to engage with this experience. So that's how I see them. It's always my nervous system is reacting this way, but I myself, as the conscious developed person that's been on this planet for 37 years and has been through all these things, and who has agency to make a decision, this is how I want to approach it. Right. So that's CBT as I understand it.
Interesting. Yeah. That seems basically.
And dread is, I don't think I've ever heard anybody else use dread except for me and my therapist. And dread is like, that's when the nervous system just reacts. Yeah. Like, oh, and when you can see that, it like shifts everything. And actually, when I was on the camping trip this weekend, so the first day was hike and then bear, and then the second day, the second day was hike and then chill. Because we were at this really great spot. There was a big creek flowing. There were only 3 campsites. There were like 3 other people there.
Nice.
It was very quiet. And I, like, middle of the day, I started getting bored. And I was like, why am I bored? I'm so happy to be away from TV, away from phone, away from people, away from my house. I'm very happy to get out of this house because it's easy to just, like, fall into numbing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm sitting there like, why am I so bored? This is weird. Something's not right in here. And that was my cue, like, so we need to start, like, looking around inside at what's happening right now that might cause me to be feeling bored in a way, in a situation where clearly there's no reason to be bored. And so as I wrote for like half an hour, I kind of like found, okay, well, this is what's going on, and this is probably, and then like that, just all of it was gone, and I was back to really juicy mode, feeling good, like just enjoying myself, very present again. And so for me, my drug of choice is introspection, insight, awareness, writing, processing, because that just like...
Were you smoking weed too?
I was not.
Okay.
No, that just that just shifted me. This whole trip, actually, I didn't do anything. I did a little bit of CBD drops. CBD oil. Yep, that's my jam.
Nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
Because it doesn't like mess with my neurochemistry.
Sure.
To the same extent as other
substances
do. I'm real sensitive to that. Like, I don't do caffeine. I don't do alcohol very well. Yeah, because it's just it messes with my chemistry, like my mood imbalances. Anyway, so but like that writing, just like flipped the switch, and I was back to super juicy mode. I was trying to hook up my brother with this girl that we met there. There were 3 other campers, me, my brother, and then 3 other campers that were just, we'd never met them before.
All girl?
Not all girls. I wish. That was a dream. Boyfriend, girlfriend, and their dog. And they were really sweet. And then this other girl who is a UCLA architectural design student. And after dinner, I had us all sit down and play cards. We played Dumball and we played Pasoi. I taught everybody how to play. And this UCLA student, like, just like vibed with my brother, like on the same frequency.
Oh, okay.
It was so cool. I was like, oh my god, my brother's wife is here. Right. And so I was trying to be Mr. Wingman, and I was like, you should come hang out with us, and then I would leave. And then like I would like say, Nick, come eat with us, and then I would leave. So that they could have time together, just the 2 of them one-on-one. Turns out she's 22. My brother's 35 this year, 34, 35. So a bit of a discrepancy.
A little bit.
But this chick was really cool.
You still make it work though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not
that deal breaker.
Too low for me.
Yeah, I think that's pushing
even
it.
At his age.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably too low for me.
Mm-hmm.
But she was really cool.
She was very cool.
Like, I know your brother. So if she clicked with that.
Yeah,
you might
that's the thing. That's the thing. My brother is so unique. For him to vibe with a girl, I was like, wow, this is... I mean, he was talking about his novel, and he, like... I'd never heard as much of the storyline of the novel that he's writing.
Yeah.
And she was, like, catching it and, like, cross-referencing stuff, and he's like, yeah, that is what I was going off, and then this was all... And I was like, whoa, this is happening. My brother!
Is your brother a virgin?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But actually, as we're walking, sorry for outing you, Nick. We might have to cut that.
Skip episode 1.
Skip episode 1. Don't. Everybody listen to this, but not you, Nick. So he, as we're walking out, so The first night I didn't sleep because there was a bear. And then the second night I didn't sleep because I thought I just found my brother his perfect match.
Wow.
And
You're so selfless.
So selfless. If Nick doesn't find a match, I'm going to be responsible for him.
That's not true.
A little bit.
A little bit, but
A little bit.
you're responsible for him a little bit.
Yeah.
So
It would be great if he could find a spouse, a partner that vibes with him. We'll leave it at that. Obviously. So then on the way out, like I was leaving alone. I made sure that we all ate breakfast together that next morning, and then I would like leave to go do something else so the two of them could talk, and then whatever. So then we leave, just Nick and I, and she was spending another night, and I was like, "So, what'd you think? What do you think of her?" And he's like, "She's pretty cool, but I'm kind of already dating someone." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So, like, oh, okay.
So maybe he's not rude. Do you think he's telling the truth?
Telling the truth about dating someone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And for a fact, I know he's still a virgin. So we don't have to keep revisiting that.
I remember you said he was into Mexican girls or Hispanic women.
Hispanic women, possibly. I don't know. The girl he's talking about sounds like a white girl from Thousand Oaks. So who knows? Anyway, I don't know how we got on that topic. Oh, it was the writing. The writing.
It was interesting. I've never heard of this idea, or I mean, it's interesting how you're talking about you're being bored, and then you thought, okay, I'm bored, so let's get to the root of that.
Yeah,
and that's introspection.
Yeah, something's not right here.
Because usually when I'm bored, I will get high.
Yeah.
I will self-medicate.
There you go.
And I'll distract myself.
Right, and so that's one way of handling it. And fortunately, in this environment, I didn't have that option.
Exactly.
Which is why, for me personally, the effort and the dirtiness and the lack of sleep is always worth it. Because I'm always faced with myself.
Yeah.
And personally, that's to me more important than all the business stuff and all the financial success stuff and life building and whatever is introspection and personal development. And that's been my priority while still earning an income and building a business and moving along with life as is has been introspection as a priority. Like I fill up one of those composition notebooks, more than one per year, of just getting stuff out of my brain onto paper and then sharing it with my therapist and learning and growing from it. And that's why this podcast interests me so much, because you, I feel like, are also on the same level. There's a couple of our friends that I can gel with about these sorts of things, and you're one of those few people.
Yeah.
And I appreciate our relationship as it stands now, even though we didn't have the same connection. But that's kind of the cool part about evolving friendships and relationships over, more than a decade, right?
Yeah.
Coming up on 2, probably. 18.
Yeah. It's probably been like, in a few years, probably like 20. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's definitely like, I don't know, like different friends, like certain friends I'm not going to go deep into like cognitive behavior with. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly. But I always prioritize those friends. Like I'm going to make more of an effort to hang out with you.
Right.
Because we can go there, even if we don't.
Yeah.
Because the potential is there. Than another friend that I know for a fact I'm not going to get there.
Right.
So I mean, everybody has their common ground, their overlap Venn diagram. Like we overlap on this, and somebody else I overlap on this, and so we'll connect with that.
Yeah.
And I think the podcast is the perfect medium for talking about this amongst other things, because we definitely have divergent interests.
Yeah.
and then we have a little slice that converges, which is why the PM AM
Yeah, that's what
thing.
I kind of like.
Yeah.
Because I remember that we kind of like talked about maybe, because my original idea was an advice show.
Was it what?
Advice show?
Okay.
Or advice
Yeah,
cast or
like
whatever.
the Letterkenny, the ag show, right?
Yeah. yeah. But yeah. So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do also feel like, I mean, a lot of podcasts I listen to, it's just dudes having a conversation. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I definitely feel like me and you could just have a conversational podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll bring some people on at some point
whenever.
that is a third overlap, right?
And then we could, I guess, if we do feel like answering questions or something like that. Because I do feel like maybe we're just going to be like tapped out of stuff to talk about or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe just ask some questions or something.
Yeah, I like the idea of having our AI audience submitted questions.
Yeah, I was actually trying to make some today.
Yeah.
But it was weird because it was like, I was trying to get it to ask me a question, but it kept asking me the question, but then answering it at the same time. So I couldn't get it to just ask me a question or something like that.
Gotcha.
But we'll figure it out.
I mean, I guess we could have it ask you a question and give the answer and just don't listen to the answer. See if we can come up with a different, better answer.
Yeah.
That would be actually kind of interesting. Like, here's what the question that AI is giving us. Here's the answer that they're giving us. Here's our answer. What do you think? Who would you rather listen to? The robot's answer or our answer? Are humans still relevant?
Well, the thing is, like, the robot's taking its answer from, like, the entirety of the internet.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So...
And it also makes it awkward. You know?
I feel like our answer would be pretty close to the AI.
I feel like my answer to whatever question would be much narrower, but also more not refined, narrower in scope, and like more on point potentially, depending on the question.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
AI is going to do a great job of giving you a really broad answer to a really broad question, with like subpoints or bullets and whatever.
It's also capped at 2015.
Say again.
The information that ChatGPT
uses
pulls from,
okay.
It's capped at 2015.
Ah, excellent.
So it can't access anything come after 2015.
On this iteration.
Yeah,
interesting. GPT-4 or something like that, right?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure all the reasons, but I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons why they did that.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly to keep people from trying to use it to gamble, like on stocks and stuff like that. I don't know. You also can't do any kind of like X-rated or anything.
Mm-hmm. Just blocks it.
But you can download a mod that you can attach to it.
Gotcha.
That will let you
Gotcha.
be a pervert.
In the AI world.
Yeah.
Well, so what I like the most about this podcast is that, because I've been spending probably the past year, coming up on a year, trying to get some of my business knowledge out into the world, social media, YouTube ads, YouTube videos, now trying to venture into Instagram, it's so narrow focused, and unfortunately that's kind of what you have to do, right? You have to be really narrow and focus on just one thing and become a savant at that one thing and niche down as far as you can and find your audience and whatever. And to me that just seems so dreadful.
Yeah.
To have to talk only about balancing for seniors, you know, and
there's got to be another way then.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. Like it's the same thing with the design world, you know. And a lot of artists, like this one guy I was talking to, he does like flowers. He like paints these like stylized flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally like his page is like just these flowers.
Yeah.
Over and over again, 3 times a fucking day. Posting about, look at this flower I made. Look at this flower. They're all the same. Like not all, like slight. You know what I mean? Like they're all pretty much the same, all the same. And he's selling the prints. He doesn't make a lot of money. He makes like a little bit of like side money with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But as soon as he posts something different, it's like people drop, like all the followers drop. People stop liking it. Like all goes down.
Oh wow.
So it's like
he's stuck. He's pigeonholed.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, okay, so you have to create a new mass media channel. Like, this is your flower mass media channel. Like, this is the business. You sell flower prints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I go to the flower shop and they're selling me bagels, I'm like, well, this is probably trash. You know what I mean? I want the flower. I came here from the flower shop. If he wanted to go sell bagels, he's going to have to open a whole new bagel shop.
Right.
So, if it's like this is your business, you just gotta see like the social media as like, this is like your shop. This is like your health span fitness shop. Can't really be selling stuff that's not health span fitness.
Right.
But then you also have to detach yourself from it personally.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be so in that you're laser focused on that one thing.
Yeah.
But then also have a life elsewhere. So for me, I'm actually kind of like
pay a social media guy.
Yeah. How hard do I want to pursue this thing? That's what I've been kind of sitting.
But then it seems like to me, it seems already miserable from the jump. So what's the point? Like,
that's true.
Figure something else out.
Well, to some degree, and I've had a client say this to me, which is, this is really valuable information. You have to get it out there for people. It would be very. It's like, this is a service that needs to be put out, right? And I think in terms of so I've got 2 business platforms going. 3 business platforms. One is just private in-home personal training for seniors. No social media, just that's me delivering one-on-one service. And then I've got a senior balance training program that I've already put together. I've been advertising. I'm trying to get it in front of the right eyes and get people interested. Not all that successful, but I've learned a lot along the way. And then the last one is training other personal trainers to become senior exercise specialists. And the reason I think those 2, which are going to be social media driven, are important is because then more people can receive what my clients have found valuable in what I do with them. Scalable and can spread across however many channels, however many people, right, that I can't necessarily reach myself. And so that's why I want to do it. But I'd also like to make some money, and I'd also like to enjoy what I do. And so,
it sounds doable. It doesn't.
Yeah, it is doable. I just don't have the like laser focus. That's why I want to do this podcast, because hey, this is interesting. This is cool. I can talk about whatever, and it doesn't have to be so pinpointed on, like, the idea of doing a senior balance podcast to me, and only talking about seniors and balance, and only talking about seniors and health problems, and only talking about seniors and fitness, and
that would just be you. I would not be in this one.
No, I wouldn't drag you into that.
But I guess that's what I'm saying is, like, hopefully this helps shape your brand in a way that you can
get behind
work
it,
your word, where it's not, exactly.
Yeah. It's not
work. I mean, it sounds like you should hire a social media.
I do have a team that's helping me with the personal trainer training. So that's that's in the works, it's in the process. We'll see how effective that is.
You should let me make a commercial.
What's a commercial?
Like the actual video that you put up on YouTube and shit like that.
I will send you the video that is currently running.
Yeah, send me what you got. I can. We can at least make that look good.
It does look good. It's performing, dude. I'm getting clicks. I'm getting opt-ins, and I'm just not getting. So the step is YouTube ad to landing page opt-in, name, email, phone number, to video webinar, to building better balance clarity call, which is just a freebie call. Why the fuck aren't people signing up for this thing? It's a free fucking call. I will spend an hour with you on Zoom. All you have to do is sign up for this stupid call.
Too much for people.
I know, yeah.
Most people dread picking up the phone.
That's true.
They're like, I gotta get a phone call with this guy.
Dread.
For an hour.
Dread. No, it should be, but you know the fact is that it could be, this guy's gonna help my balance so much, right? That's
yeah.
And just talking to him on the phone, all he wants to do is help. I don't know. We'll see. The marketing, the messaging's not quite right, whatever it is. I'm just trying to follow the script of what these people say to do, and maybe it's works for their business, but I don't think it's necessarily working for targeting seniors online, which is a notoriously difficult market to corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say like 2 to 5% conversion rate is really like success. Like that's a success. So.
Yeah. I'm not liking these margins.
Like,
it's the truth, though.
And I mean, like that is how it's been done since the beginning of marketing. But there's got to be a better way.
I think so. We're exploring.
It's also interesting because your demographic is skewed so much older that it's sort of. I guess my thinking is like the younger demographic. It's much more easier to sort of pinpoint their patterns. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
The older people, it's like, well, I don't know. You don't really have too much time to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, not that old. Not that old.
Like how old are we talking about? Like 70?
Yeah. One of my lines in the video webinar is 70's the new 50, right?
70 is the new 50.
And that's the thing, How old are your parents?
70, mid-70s.
Exactly. And they're fine, right? They're not.
Yeah, they're
not in a wheelchair. They're not headed to a home.
Yeah, like they're definitely old.
Yeah.
Like when I look at them, I'm like, you guys are old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we're gonna be old too, man.
Yeah, I know. But I'm always kind of like, yeah, but you guys are still like moving around and going around.
Absolutely. Active, independent. The other thing is nobody cares about balance until after they fall.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the hard truth, is nobody's gonna give a crap about balance until, oh shit, I broke my hip, I guess I should have. A lot of shouldas. But all good. We'll figure that out. That's not my one focus in life.
Yeah.
I'm much happier, like on Thursday before this camping trip, I had a block of time because some appointments canceled or whatever, and I just like laid on the floor and caught up on journal entries, because sometimes I'll write in the paper journal and sometimes just like have an idea and I just have to write it into the Google Drive doc. And so I was like way behind on transcribing to paper. I just spent like 3 hours just transcribing stuff, and I was like, I'm not making any progress on the business. I'm not, I don't have any billable hours today, but my soul feels good.
Yeah.
So
I definitely, what do you call them, like no 0 days, where it's like you have to get at least one
something
productive thing done.
Yeah.
But that could be like, emptying the dishwasher or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
I definitely always try to get like something done.
Yeah.
It's very easy to just be like, smoke some weed and watch a movie and let the night go by kind of thing. And so I try to at least get one thing done before I start like becoming a total piece of shit. But, I mean, I would say you gotta figure out stuff that gets you like excited,
Mm-hmm.
and then, or maybe not excited, but stuff that you find enjoyable that you would do normally.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow figure out ways of like attaching that. Not maybe not attaching that, but finding ways of synergizing that with like work.
The thing is, the medium through which you deliver that is what I find detestable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's
Well,
just
so
me.
Maybe
That's just me.
You gotta figure out a different vehicle.
Broadcast system. Yeah, exactly. But I just don't like the broadcast systems. I mean, I'm trying Instagram. I've tried YouTube ads. I'm trying Facebook. Trying whatever. So
What are some other ways of marketing?
Probably going and doing not lectures, but like workshops at retirement homes. And just like, I'm going to do a workshop for everybody, and anybody that's interested, I have an online program and a weekly webinar class that we do, and you can sign up, and it's X dollars a month. So, who knows? Maybe it's
Would
shifting.
you enjoy doing it? Would that be...
Not necessarily. No.
Like, would you rather do that than post on Facebook or whatever?
I'd like there to be some sort of automation to it. It's not me necessarily doing something every day.
So going to like a old folks home once a week versus posting
twice a day
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that sounds bad. That sounds way more effective than
potentially
social media.
Yeah. You're probably right. You'll actually have eyeballs that are in the room with you, focus on you for 30 minutes, 90 minutes, however long.
And they're actually going to test the product.
Right. Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, oh, well, this tastes good. You know, like I've already done it once and it felt good afterwards, yada yada, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, I don't know, like when you go hiking or something, can you like put a sign? Like I was thinking like super, like... That was like way better than what I thought.
Yeah.
I was thinking like when you go hiking, maybe put like a sign or something.
Josh Foster, personal trainer. Are you suffering up this hill?
Yeah, something like that.
Doesn't have to be this bad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this bad. Let me get you in shape. Yeah, whatever.
And you just put like the QR code.
There you go, QR code. And somebody's like, what's a QR code? How do I do that?
Well, no, they're probably like hiking with their son or daughter, you know.
That's right. What is this?
They'll be like, it's a QR code, Mom.
Yeah.
I'll show you. No, do this. Like, just hold it up like that.
Not so close. Not so close. Farther back. Hold it still.
It's not even on, Mom. God.
Now you have to press the button. Press this.
Don't press that one. I don't get it.
And do you have to do that with your parents?
They're better.
Yeah.
My mom's pretty bad, but
yeah.
My mom's like English is her second language, so she's mostly just asking me how to spell things.
Gotcha.
Because it's one thing to like talk on the phone, but now she's like having to text, so she has to like know how to spell things. She's like, fuck. How do you spell?
Does she call you first and then you don't pick up and then she texts you after?
No, my mom's better at that.
Is she a reluctant texter?
My dad is like, he'll text me, and if I don't answer right, like 1 second, he's calling me.
Oh yeah.
Did you get my text? I'm like,
my mom calls and leaves voicemails. That makes me crazy.
Yeah, my mom does that too.
It makes me so crazy. I don't want to listen to your voicemail. I understand that I missed your call. You can't possibly be leaving me any relevant, viable information that's going to change the course of my day.
That's our culture, though.
I know.
That used to be it.
That's
how you do it.
Yeah, all my clients still have landlines at their house. And it makes me crazy. Like we're doing a workout, or at the end, some of my clients, I'll do a meditation with them, and like all of a sudden the landline's ringing, and she's like, "God, that's so annoying." I said, "You know what would get? You know how you could deal with that? You could cancel your landline." She's like, "But what if the Earth ends and my satellite, my phone doesn't have a signal?"
Yeah, that's some boomer shit.
Like, yeah, that's true, but you know,
That's like I don't know. I always think about that when they talk about gun rights,
okay.
and they're always like, "Well, what if the government comes in?"
Takes
Yeah,
our goods.
I was like, "What do you got? You gotta buy like a Stinger missile. You gotta buy like a fleet of drones. What are you talking about?" You think
Your rifles.
your little rifles gonna like knock down like a robot drone coming to blow your house up? Like, have you seen what the government has? Got a big old M80 tank going down fucking Devonshire.
There you
You think
go.
you're like-
Just run over the whole front of your house. Ah, my patio. Yeah, that's and then like listening to her friend leave a voicemail on her phone.
And it's like loud.
And they're just talking. They're just like
Yeah.
talking to themselves. I feel like I don't know if that's I know that's a woman thing, number one. And I don't know if that's a boomer thing, but like, when you're alone at home, do you speak out loud to yourself?
No.
Never.
No.
Never have I ever.
I speak in my head.
In my head to myself. Yeah, exactly. Like, Sarah Silverman does this bit where she's talking da 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 da, and then whoever she's with says, "What did you say?" And she said, "Oh, I'm not talking to you."
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're not talking to me. You're speaking out loud to yourself with another human here. It's crazy. It's nuts. And some people leave a voicemail on the phone like they're having a conversation with not a machine.
Yeah.
You know, like you're having a conversation with this person that you're intending to have a conversation with, but they're not there, obviously, and I don't know. That's a pet peeve.
I've always felt like that to hold over from the landline era,
Mm-hmm.
like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Leave a message.
Because that was like the only way you would
Yeah.
contact somebody. So like,
I wonder what our fossils, like our cultural fossils. Like, are we going to be texting and people are like, "God, would you fucking stop texting me?" Like the same way I feel
Yeah,
about
maybe,
leaving a
I don't
voicemail.
know.
Like, what's it going to be? Like,
well, they
why?
do say that. I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but they say posting pictures, like on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
that's something millennials do.
Okay.
But the new generation doesn't do that.
What do they do? What is the new generation?
They just do stories.
Stories like just text.
No, like, you know how like in Instagram you can post
Mm.
and it's like it goes on the feed, but then there's like
Uh-huh.
their stories
I
where
hate
it's like
that.
the little clips.
Right, but stories is just like the one day and only the people that are in your feed can see, but just for like the one day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Snapchat, but 24 hours
Yeah.
instead of 20 minutes.
It's basically just Snapchat, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Like
their
if
way.
apparently if someone goes on your page
Uh-huh.
and see a whole bunch of posts,
posts,
they're
they're
gonna
like,
think you're
oh,
you're gonna think you're
old.
35 plus or whatever.
Gotcha. That's good to know. Good to know. I'm definitely posting and not storying.
Though I do wonder if that is the youth backlash against the older generation.
Mm-hmm. I think they
Want to say less. They want to be less. They want to have less permanence online.
exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that's like pseudo anonymity.
Yeah.
Pseudo privacy. I'm gonna post because that's how our generation communicates, but it's not gonna be
Like I'm going to
forever.
interact with the app.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not.
I'm gonna interact with my people through this app, but it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be historic. There's not gonna be a history.
Yeah, I don't want it on here. Yeah. I don't want my lineage or whatever, my history on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's smart. I mean, I do also wonder if like those kids gonna get older, start having careers, maybe a family, and then they're just gonna start posting. And there's just this thing about getting to a certain age where you post
instead of story.
You get to a point in your adulthood where you find some benefit in crafting a narrative, a context, or a history. So you're posting, you have posts that people come to your page and they see, but it's curated in such a way that it gives off a contextual image of who you want them to see.
Yeah.
Whereas in maybe like a millennial now, it's just like, I went to the hot dog store, and so here's pictures of the hot dogs I got. And here's a picture of my kid. We went to the hot dog place. And, I went to Tahoe. We ate hot dogs. Here's a picture of it. You know what I mean? Like,
selective.
They're not really thinking in that sense of like,
what am I leaving behind?
Yeah.
Like what footprint am I leaving behind?
Yeah.
Here's the stuff that I want to interact with the app, but here's what I want to be remembered as, viewed as, seen.
And I think, but I mean, also like, I feel like social media at the end of the day, it's an advertising platform. Like, if you're using it in any way to sort of like, the more of you personally you're putting in there, the more things can work against you.
Okay.
And you should really just look at it as a tool to make money.
Yeah.
A way to sell your product, market product.
Yeah.
And maybe some people, they are the product.
Right.
I guess in my sense, my product is like my design, my art shit, or whatever.
For sure.
So to me, I try to look at it as a marketing tool to get money either through commissions or trying to sell like a product. Like I have those like stickers and stuff like that, trying to sell through it or whatever. Right. To me, that's the only way of like healthily going about like social media in the current form.
That makes sense. Do you curate what you post? Do you post?
I will only post stuff. I mean, if I haven't deleted anything because I'm not gonna go back and delete stuff. But you could tell at a certain point it was like I stopped posting personal stuff, and I only post art, design art that I've made.
Do you also post personal in stories, or do you selectively post personal stuff in stories?
I will post my art in stories.
Okay.
And then once in a while I'll post about Max.
Gotcha.
As like, don't forget this guy, that kind of thing.
In post.
In post and in my story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll have to look out for that. I don't think I've seen any of the Max posts.
I'll just do them around like. I usually post them in the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad at interacting with the app on a regular basis, unfortunately. Did you?
The thing that keeps me with Instagram is I have friends that mostly communicate through Instagram.
DM.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That works.
I also think it's a very good communication tool for like very base casual types of relationships. So sometimes getting somebody's number, this may sound stupid, but sometimes getting somebody's number may seem too formal for some people, especially these new cats. So it's like, okay, well, let me get your social media and I'll send you a message through that.
Yeah.
And that's like bottom of the barrel casual.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You could not, I guess there's like levels to formality.
Right.
In this kind of world. And like social media messaging is like the lowest.
It's the lowest, gotcha. And
like texting's like here, and like phone's like all the way up there. Like,
yeah, and then
only the president can call you.
DM, email, Discord, whatever social media communication app is at the bottom, and then text message on your personal line.
Yeah.
and then phone call is
Yeah.
it's like that's like how you know you made it in a date.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna speak to her on the phone.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere.
Yeah.
This has potential. We got wings.
Yeah. Well, you definitely got to work your way up to the phone.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
yeah,
I'm not saying that you're jumping right to it.
Right.
I'm just saying that that's when you get a phone call with someone that you maybe started off on whatever dating app
Mm.
or casual social media handle exchange,
Yeah.
and then you get to the point where you're like actually calling her
Right.
in, then that's how you know that you made it out of
Yeah.
out of
Well, the thing is, nowadays it's like
defense zone.
you start dating girls, and we're in the 30s now, so a lot of these
Yeah.
girls have like careers and all that kind of stuff. And like,
Yeah, I can't wait to be dating
a career.
eligible women that have a career and
Because some of them, a lot of them work jobs. Like they get they get extra phones
okay.
for like their jobs.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, not only are you gonna work your way up to the phone call,
But are you gonna get
you gotta
your
work your
personal
way up to
number?
the second phone. Like you're still on the first phone. Like
You've had to deal with that?
yeah, a couple times.
Oh wow. How do you know that you're on a work phone?
I can only usually can figure it out if it's one phone's an iPhone, one phone's an Android. Because like
interesting.
green text and blue text.
Green, blue, yeah. Yeah, the pariah Android blue text.
Yeah.
Is Android blue or
iPhone is blue.
iPhone's blue? And then
Well, so do you have an iPhone?
I have an Android.
Okay. Well, I know on my iPhone, if somebody from an iPhone texts me, it's blue.
It's
if somebody
blue.
from an Android texts me, it's green.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
it'd be like all of a sudden it's like, why is this blue?
yeah, exactly. Why are you fucking up my text thread?
And she's
here?
like, oh yeah, that was my work phone. This is my personal phone. I was like, oh, I made it to the personal phone. It's just
Oh, I see that distinction. So in the same text thread,
like, yeah,
green, 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 blue. I finally got to her iPhone.
yeah.
It's not you got in her pants.
Or
You
it's
got in
not,
her
yes.
iPhone.
Usually you're in your pants before you're in the iPhone.
Oh, really?
I mean,
That's easier? That's
I mean,
more
depends
casual,
on
that's more
the girl.
casual than the iPhone? Than the personal line?
well, because it's like if she fucks me and she's not feeling it,
Uh-huh.
she knows I can't access her personal line.
Oh, wow. So that's the last line of defense.
I don't know about defense, but
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Not defense.
well,
You
usually
know
it's.
what I mean.
Usually it's like you're getting text from one phone,
Uh-huh.
then all of a sudden she's texting you from a different phone
Yeah,
number,
yeah.
and that one's like blue or whatever.
You're like, whoa.
And you're like, what is this?
Yeah, what is
She's
this?
like, oh, this is my real phone. Oh.
Ah, nice. And do you yeah,
Not.
going somewhere? Going somewhere? We
No,
got it.
I usually make a crass joke.
Like,
Like, oh, I made it to leave. Something like that. I don't know.
yeah. Nice. That's fun.
No,
yeah,
dating
looking,
sucks. Fucking hate that.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I've been
I
in
like-
the dating game for a long time.
I like being on the date is fine, but like trying to get the date
Yeah.
is fucking.
Yeah, I've heard that it's a grind. My brother has given up on all the dating apps except for Bumble because he's like, I'm putting the onus on the woman because clearly it is on them. They're the gatekeepers, for sure.
Yeah, but even on Bumble, they won't say hi first either.
Oh, well, I thought that was the whole premise of Bumble is that
Yeah, that's what they say.
a female makes the
Yeah,
initial
that's not how
contact.
that's not how it actually goes.
Okay. Well, I'm not looking forward to
I mean,
online dating app dating, but I am looking forward to dating other adults who have been through the suck, who have been through the suffer, who have a career, who have gotten to the same point that we're at, where they've got some CBT training, they've got some life experience, they've been knocked down enough times to still be standing and trying, you know?
yeah.
I'm saying this from a hypothetical, and you're responding from a you've been there.
I mean, it's also, I don't know, like,
you could also think about it as, like you were
Like we're
saying.
supposed to go to like do the speed dating thing, right?
Exactly. I was going to say maybe the medium that you're in is not ideal. Like my
Yeah.
Google ads are probably not ideal. I probably need to get in person with live seniors and spread my
Yeah.
message that way instead of continuing to, because there's no obligation, there's no commitment. I guess maybe that's not the right word. It's like it doesn't cost them anything personally to put their name, phone number, and email address, and then not follow through.
Like in the app or whatever.
In my opt-ins for potential business clients, as opposed to somebody who's willing to sit down and listen to what I have to say for 30 minutes or an hour. I feel like it's the same way with dating. Like somebody that's just casually on whatever app, and from what I understand it, a man's dating app experience is copy and paste this same message, make a little change so that it's specific to whatever profile, and do that 100 times. As opposed to a woman's, who is log into the app and have 100 messages to filter through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the system is not set up right.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
No, not
it's
ideal
like,
at all.
I'm sure there's like a couple of guys who are like super good looking or 7 feet tall or whatever who are like cleaning up, but there's like a lot. most of it's like not really the system. That's why I kind of got off of it. I'm still on one of them occasionally, but I don't know. It's just kind of stupid. But I've had success on it, so I'm not totally like willing to give it up. And my like scheduling is very fucked.
Yeah.
So
the
I'm working
thing.
all like throughout the night, and I'm working from home, so I'm not really like out. Like before, I was in like an office building. You would see people in the office building and stuff like that. And you're in like I was in an area of Los Angeles that had human beings walking around. That were like office jobs. Like similar types of like. Level of human or whatever. I don't know I don't know how to say it or whatever. I don't want to say like class, but professionals working amongst other professionals and stuff like that. So it was a lot easier to just like talk to people and get that aspect down.
Yeah.
So kind of been driven to the apps, but it sucks and it doesn't work, and I don't want to participate in it anymore.
Yeah. Which is why we're gonna try speed dating.
But let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Maybe before we do speed dating, I'll put up a profile on whatever app and like get my toes wet there, because I've been out of the game for a long time. I've been burned real hard.
Yeah.
And I've been out of the game for a long time.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think that's
like a prerequisite.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that before the speed dating.
Okay. Maybe just do speed dating.
Because I don't know. I feel like the dating app shit just like chips away at your soul. Like it's just there's something really like sapping. Like it saps like your like lust for life or something out of it. Like it really just kind of like. It's weird too because it's like I'll be on there and there'll be some girl and I'll just look at her picture and I'll feel bad for her. Like
bad for the picture?
Bad for her. Because like I don't know, like obviously she's not very pretty, she's probably like overweight, like I can obviously tell this person is not like attractive. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to date this person.
Okay.
And I don't know, it just makes me feel bad that I have to like reject her. And it's like she doesn't know me, like there's no like she has no idea that this person is rejecting her or anything like that, but there's just this sort of like you feel like you're putting some kind of measurement on a human being and that person's not measuring up.
Yeah.
And it's totally bullshit and it's totally arbitrary and it's totally subjective, and this person probably is like super awesome, like
but you can't get past
that
initial hurdle of swipe left, swipe right.
And then when I even think of that, you flip it, and there's probably all these women, who are looking at you the same way.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
What are your opt-in ratios, right?
So
what's your conversion rate
What is like literally you're asking me?
No, not necessarily.
No,
I'm just
but
saying
like
hypothetically.
and it, so it's just like the whole thing is just like
Yeah.
both sides is fucked. I hate this. You know what I mean? Like, and I really just, and I met some cool women on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I kind of just want to date everybody on there.
Yeah.
At least go on one date with each person on there, but that's not really realistic. Or
That's why speed dating.
so I think
I feel like
when you're in like I feel more attractive in person. I'm not very photogenic.
Okay.
B, like I have a vibe to me that's
Mm-hmm.
more overpowering than how I look,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how to communicate that.
Vibe.
And like not just in the dating app,
Visually
but like
on
I
a
don't
date.
know how to communicate that on like social media either.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, some people are just stars in that format. You know, they
Right.
just burn bright, dude, and that's not necessarily some
some people are photogenic.
true photogenic, but also photogenic, yes, and that's a big part of it. But also, like they just like magnetic online, and I can attest from personal experience, raising my hand here, that being magnetic and dynamic online is not the same. I've actually had relationships where I was attracted to their social media profile more than I was attracted to them as a person in person.
Interesting.
And like that dynamic, unfortunately for me, that's like a pitfall, is that I fall into the projected image, the fantasy of that person, and I don't necessarily connect with the physical person. So I think that's like a trap for me to watch out for.
Interesting.
That I don't necessarily want to even put myself in that situation where I'm going to fall for somebody's social media presence profile, who they are broadcasting as, versus the person that I interact with, their vibe, their actual presence. Like you said, you're different in person than however you're trying to communicate online.
Right.
So, yeah, I think speed dating will be interesting.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I mean,
And because you're committing like 2 hours to one person, right? If you go on a date,
yeah.
and that's not including the preamble to actually getting a date. And like,
Well, I usually try to get that first date
like lock it in.
super short.
Yeah. Oh. Well, so even still, what is a super short date for you? An hour?
Half an hour.
Half an hour?
Because I feel like, my same thing we're going, because it's like, okay, you saw the profile, we talked a little bit, like we chat a little bit,
Right.
like I try to be charming and funny and all
Right,
that kind of
right,
stuff. And then you're actually going to meet me in real life.
Uh-huh.
So I don't want to take too much of your time if you're not feeling this.
Yeah.
Because whatever before all goes out the window once you meet that person in real life.
Yeah.
Especially these days, because it's nobody looks how they look, you know.
Yeah. I've been on a couple, like, wow, that picture was from 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
wasn't it?
yeah.
That picture was for sure from 10 years ago, wasn't it?
It's funny too, because it'll be like nobody wears that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I can tell this picture's 10 years old because nobody wears that anymore.
I see.
You know?
Gotcha. Except for me, because I'm neo-boomer. I got some old folks' clothes.
I did update my pictures because I'm so gray in the beard now. Or it's like some pictures was like it's like dark black. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not.
That's obviously
That's
not.
a catfish right there.
Yeah. Nice. So it's good that you keep the dating down to like 30 minutes.
Because it's a big commitment.
Yeah, but it would be nice to be able to stack those. You know.
I guess you once you get to the second, third date, you know.
I don't mean stacking like second and third date with the same person. I mean like stacking, like batching.
Oh, like going like 7 dates a night
dates
or
all at
whatever.
once, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's like work. That's a commitment. And I think that's where paying $50 or $30 or whatever to be in the speed dating thing, where it's being organized for you, and you just get exposure. That's the other thing, like doing reps, right?
Yeah.
You're just doing reps. You're just getting 15 dates in a single night, as opposed to getting one date in for 2 weeks worth of work.
Yeah. I'm down. I definitely think like the first Like the first time we do it, it's gonna be like, like super excited inducing or whatever. But then after that, we're gonna be like,
He was chain smoking.
yeah, I gotta quit that shit. Ugh. That's a different episode.
People help us.
We'll get to the big smoking episode one of these days.
There you go, Mr. Chimney.
I'm the chimney. I'm feeling it, man.
Yeah. I felt like
Yeah.
a champ on this hiking trip. I felt so good, man. The first, so it was 3.5 miles up to the campsite, and it was up. It was not an easy climb. And the first day is the heaviest because you have all your food, all your water, all your everything. And I was just moving slow. I was moving really slow. Nick was ahead of me. Nick's in way worse shape than me. Mike was ahead of me. Mike's in way worse shape than me. Until, like, mile 1.5. And I was like, ooh, I feel good now.
Yeah.
Gone.
There's still like there's like the first kind of energy that you burn through.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a quick one.
Yeah.
And then there's like a second kind of energy that you kick in,
Yeah.
and that's like the long one.
And that was just a slow burn.
Yeah.
And it was burning pretty hot on that first hike. I was moving. And then on the way back, going down that same really steep, there's a sweet spot where it feels better to like jog than to walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my pack's not as heavy, and I want to get back to the car, and I'm just gonna let gravity pull me down. I'm not gonna pump the brakes. So that was fun too. Left Nick in the dust on the downhill as well.
I feel like, do you feel like as you gotten older, like the first energy, that whatever, I don't know what it's called. What's like that first one called?
I don't know.
Well, like that one that you burn through kind of fast in the beginning or whatever. Do you feel like it gets shorter or longer as you've gotten older?
I feel like I don't have the same explosive sprint energy. Maybe that's what you're referring to.
Maybe.
Like the short burst, the max power kind of stuff. I don't feel like I have that as much.
Yeah, I feel like it's way shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Like we used to be able to, not like, I've never been an athlete or whatever, you know what I mean?
But you used to be able to hammer.
But I used to be able to like, that first part, like rock with it a little bit longer. Now I feel like I burnt through that shit real fast.
Okay.
But then once the second energy comes in, like I'm fine.
Yeah.
But like, I always feel like warming up takes me longer now. Like, just to get the engine starting to run just takes me like a lot longer.
For sure, that's definitely a big part of it. It takes longer to get the engine running.
Yeah.
It takes a lot longer to get the engine running.
I feel like I'm at the gym longer, but I'm not getting as much done because it's time to take. It's like, am I warmed up yet? Are we there yet? Like it's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also mind state. My mind state's been very just kind of frazzled.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's frazzling you?
I don't know, man. I just feel so trapped inside my apartment.
So you're traveling soon, right?
Yeah, I'm going to New York Thursday.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be there for like 2 weeks.
That's I forget. I forgot today, but I realized that's why I wanted to do this today.
Because I was going to be gone.
Because you're going to be gone, and I was like, you know what? If we don't jump on it at least one before I'm too tired from camping, and then you're out of town, and then a third week goes by, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to materialize.
Do you want to see if we can do it over the phone? I'll have my computer with me because
Potentially.
I have to do my team's time card still. So I have to I think I'd bring my computer with me.
Right.
So I'll have my computer. I'll have like Zoom and stuff like that.
That'd be interesting.
Record another episode through that.
And that one would actually, I could record on Zoom because I'm sure you probably also have a pro account on Zoom.
Yeah, but it's tied to my work email.
So I have a pro account that I can record and do audio and stuff like that.
You can also have you ever used the Google?
Yeah, Google Meet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good too.
Okay, cool.
And we can figure out a different time because I won't be working.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be like on.
I think like a Sunday afternoon usually works well for me, because that way you're not at work or getting ready for work,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not at work, because that's like the beauty and the challenge of us connecting, is that your schedule is PM and my schedule is AM,
Yeah.
and by PM I'm done, and by AM you're done, right? So kind of finding that sweet spot.
I like that. I do think maybe for when I'm in New York, maybe do like an early Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I'll just see what my work schedule is like. Sometimes I take an appointment or two on a Sunday.
Good. We do 4. I'll be 3 hours ahead.
Right.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Could we call it a wrap?
Yeah.
Yep. Bathroom's calling me.
Should we just end it? Do we edit?
The end.
The end? Are we still PM AM?
Potentially. Until we find something better.
Day turns night.
Day turns night. Night turns day. Catch us in between.
I mean, are we? Is it just gonna be like conversational?
What?
How do we gotta communicate?
Punctuate the end?
Or communicate, the title's gotta communicate what people are getting themselves into
Right.
when they're listening to it.
And PM AM doesn't do that.
Maybe if we did like
You used to have a subtitle.
PM AM and everything in between. So AM PM.
Cheese. That's so cheesy. Sorry. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Alright. We'll brainstorm more podcast names in the future. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.